Since 2003, this is The Sports Source with your host, John Pennington.
The Sports Source is presented by Junk Be Gone, Pipe Wrench, and the Garza Law Firm.
The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into this episode of The Sports Source here in the Junk Be Gone studios. There was some junk that Mike Such and his crew need to haul out of the Neyland Stadium after yesterday. Boy, 45-24 Vanderbilt wins. Diego Pavia puts up another 400-yard day against the fourth straight SEC opponent. On top of that, Vanderbilt comes into Neyland Stadium and they finish a 10-win season for the first time in their history. I happened to be out at Old Gray Cemetery just down from the stadium last night. It was so bad last night that I saw this. The general was up and pulling his hair out. He climbed right out of the grave. He was so sick by all this.
Oh, goodness.
And I'll tell you somebody else that would have been sickened by that. George Bad News Cafago. For the old-timers who know how much he hated Vanderbilt, that was not a good night. Somewhere he was spinning, too. We're going to get into it. Let's dive into this show. An autopsy for you, but we're going to have fun while we do it. This segment brought to you by the Garza Law Firm. If you feel like the world is closing in on you, like people are coming for you with pitchforks, like Josh Heupel today, then you need a good expert attorney. In all seriousness, if you need the best attorney in the world, then you need to get to Marcos Garza and the Garza Law Firm. Long track record of success right here in East Tennessee. They're your best option in East Tennessee. GarzaLaw.com to learn more. All right, and to learn more, I turn to these gentlemen. We got Jimmy Himes right there. We got VFL Mike Stoll, former captain VFL Marlin Vols right here. And we got Bob Hodge right there. Last week, Tennessee's offense looked incredibly creative against Florida. This week, I felt they got out-creatived by Vanderbilt, their play caller. And that's a guy who's worked with Diego Pavia for at least 4 years now, New Mexico State and Vandy. I think it showed that he knows how to call a game for Diego Pavia. I thought Vandy's attack kept UT guessing. And while the Vols, they didn't seem to have many answers, especially after Jalen McMurray's roughing the passer call at the end and put his shoulder pad in the guy's face right in front of the ref, you get it flagged. And from that point on, the score is 31-3. Lights out. Mike, offense versus offense. Vanderbilt's offense versus Tennessee's offense yesterday. UT and Aguilar just couldn't keep pace with Vandy and Pavia.
No, they couldn't. They couldn't execute very well either, and I think that was the problem. Vanderbilt, and I've seen them early in the season, Pavia is more of an option quarterback than he is a pocket passer. So they do a lot of things with misdirections, hands off, change directions to follow the ball, and Tennessee's defense bid on those. But on the offensive side for Tennessee, they had some different things there. They had some things where the offset or almost an up back, and you got tight ends in and different things. But they did not execute. And when it comes down to it, if you don't execute on your game plan, no matter what you draw up, it ain't going to make a difference because they weren't doing the things that they needed to do to be successful. Credit Vanderbilt's defense for the looks that they give them so they couldn't do the things they needed to.
It looked like they confused the offensive line.
Confused them all day long. They brought everybody up on the line of scrimmage. You got calls. You've got blitz pickups. There was a lot of blitz pickups that weren't attacked properly, and then there was things that, based on the system, if you've got so many in the box, you run the ball. If you got so many in the box, you throw the ball. They couldn't, and Aguilar could not differentiate who's in, who's out to throw or to run, and that's where the problem started.
Jimmy, your thoughts on the Vols offense?
Well, I thought the offense was fine the first half. They scored 21 points and had 245 yards. What I thought really hurt them, you mentioned the play before the half, when Vanderbilt seized the momentum, and they talk about the middle eight, right? Mm-hmm. Vanderbilt won that. They scored before the half. They came out and scored, stopped Tennessee, scored again. Ball game was pretty much over because you knew Tennessee wasn't going to stop Vanderbilt. And Tennessee, I thought offensively, really got more confused in the second half. Deshaun Bishop even said, "Hey, we got away from the run game. We weren't a threat there." But I thought Vanderbilt really outcoached them. I thought there was a lot more effort on Vanderbilt's part in the second half, in particular, than Tennessee. I thought Tennessee's defense waved the towel. I didn't think they...
Especially that last one, they just laid it down.
Yeah, so I thought that was the key. But Vanderbilt, I thought, outplayed and outcoached Tennessee.
Yeah, agreed. I thought offensively, we'll do defense in the next segment, but offensively, your thoughts on what you saw yesterday?
I thought the better football team won the football game. And that's not a roster by roster, put this guy versus this guy, because we have more blue chip guys on our roster. But as far as what they're doing, how they do it, I thought the better football team won the football game. There was one particular play where you're seeing Diego Pavia grab the ball and he's just kind of running to the left. And it's like, all right, you ain't getting a ton of yards from that. Why they keep doing that? But it was to set up. He then come out, act like he's going to do the same thing, steps back. He hits Trey Richardson down the sideline because the DB had been so used to, okay, he's running the ball here. Let me go play the run. Yeah. Well, now they set the ball up where now they got Trey Richardson in a first down situation. That pretty much put the game away. It was done. But for me, it was they did a great job of setting Tennessee's defense up, and I didn't see that from our offense. I felt like my one criticism all year long has been for Heupel was, if you're an offensive guy, be an offensive guy. I want to see different looks. I want to see different tempos. I want to see guys shifting in motion. And for me, yesterday was your Super Bowl win because you cannot let Vanderbilt come in here and potentially go to the playoff off you in Neyland Stadium. The bowl games have been diminished every day. Yeah. Like, this is the game you have to go win. This is the game you have to be creative. And I didn't feel like we did enough of that offensively to go win the football game.
I thought this is to your point. And Bob, I texted you this. There was a 4-play segment yesterday, in the second half, where they line up with 2 fullbacks in there, so it looks like a heavy look, and instead it's kind of a little pop pass for about 10 yards over the middle. They come back after that, option left, nope, shovel pass. They come back after that, quarterback draw. Next one, roll out right, throw. I don't know, am I stepping or fetching? Where are we going here? I don't know what's coming at me. And I thought that they looked more creative in what they did rather than Tennessee, which was the hand up off the middle deep shot. And if the deep shots aren't connecting, there wasn't much to it. Bob.
I thought the thing that impressed me a lot about Pavia was how good he was on his play-action passes. I mean, a lot of guys get the snap, turn around, sort of fake a handoff. He was really good at it, and he ran, while we're breaking down plays, he ran a play where he faked a handoff to his left, rolled to his right, tucked the ball. Okay, he's running, right? Here comes our DBs up. And then he pulls up, he stops, and he throws. So to me, that's not the kind of thing you can do with every quarterback. But, and to your point of him being with the same people for 4 years, that's the thing you can do when you go, this guy has a skill set where we can do these things. Could any of Tennessee's quarterbacks have been able to run a play like that? And I'm going to kind of say, probably not.
I think his decision-making's off the charts. Yeah. I thought his RPO decisions, I thought he was tremendous.
We'll get to him a little bit later, but I think if the Heisman vote was held in this room, I think I know who wins it, because I'm not voting for the guy from Indiana. When I've seen what this guy's done in the SEC, it blows me away. Josh Heupel told ESPN before the game he wanted to be deliberate with the tempo. He got into the game. They did up the tempo at times. They had some success with it. Second half, all they did was go 3 and out fast. I don't know. What were your thoughts on tempo? Did they use enough of it? You already said mix it up a little. What were your feelings on the tempo? Did they use that right? I mean, obviously they didn't use it right because you only got 24 points.
No.
But your thoughts on how they went into that game, their approach that we're going to try and be deliberate with it to start. Apparently they didn't want to get in a shootout with Diego Pavia. Is the only reason I can think why you'd want to be deliberate.
Well, I thought they should have just gone fast and tried to score as many points. Now, the difference is, so you basically did what you did against Florida, okay? Well, that worked because Florida doesn't have an offense. They don't have a quarterback that can score a bunch of points on you. Yep. I thought you should have been more aggressive on offense and tried to score in the 40s instead of saying, let's run some clock and keep him off the field. So I was not in favor of that game plan.
You know, I've said all year long, after the first couple of games of watching the defense, watching the offense, see Joey run this offense officially, especially when we're going fast. I said, hey, listen, this is a season where you drag the defense across the finish line. Hey, listen, we love you guys. We'll buy you pizza on Friday or Sunday, whatever. But we're going to score as many points as we possibly can because this is our strength. There was another play where we're going fast, tempo's moving. The corner from Vanderbilt is still trying to get the signal from the sideline. Brazo burns him down the field. That's a touchdown. That's what the tempo does for you. I'm not slowing this thing down when this is our strength.
It also looked like a guy was out of position on the Deshaun Bishop long run that might have been temporarily. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look at the tempo thing, you have to realize that, like Marlon said, your defense is not there. I think Heupel probably thought, okay, I've got to control the ball a little bit more to give my boys a break, because I texted you right before the half and said, our guys are gassed already. I mean, if they don't score more points, it's over. And I think that's the problem, is the defense was out there, and then they're like, hey, we're done. Like, we can't stop these guys. Our offense isn't doing it. So when you use tempo, you have to be wise in how you use tempo and be able to move and get first downs. It's predicated on first downs. They weren't doing that, especially in the third quarter. They had like that one series basically before they rolled into the fourth quarter. It was 3 and out. It was a quick 3 and out. That was the one that just broke the back.
One thing we were talking about this morning on the phone, because Bob and I are at a constant telephone conversation. Could you not have used tempo a little bit more? Vanderbilt confused you with their looks, and they would move into this and then move out of that. Could you have not have used the tempo to prevent some of that? Or once your offensive line is confused, it doesn't matter?
Yeah,
What's your thoughts?
Well, I think again,
As a former lineman,
they've got it. The offensive line did not pick up who they've got, and credit Vanderbilt for a game plan, bringing everybody up to the line of scrimmage. This is where you go through your rules and you basically progress. This guy here, I'm covered. I do this. It's down the line with what you follow on your rules. And because they couldn't get into a rhythm, your defense is over there trying to catch their breath. They're not able to go, okay, well, if you got this here, remember, we got our assignment here. Obviously, we'll probably jump into the defense, but we didn't have time to make the adjustments because our offense didn't control the ball and didn't do the things with the tempo, but you got to get the first down.
Anything to finish, Bob?
I kind of think that as I tear up your set here,
It's okay.
I kind of think that your offense should have used more tempo, and I also think your coaches should have put you in some situations to have got your offense a little bit of rhythm in tempo, because to me they never did that. Me and you talked about, once again, where was the screen game against all the guys that they were bringing?
You texted
Where
me
was
during the
the
game.
stuff to try to slow these things down? Okay, we're not blocking it very well. Is there anything we can do to take advantage of this? And to me, once again, you get back to the offense just being, nope, here's what we're going to do. And I thought that that was a game where I would have liked to have seen more tempo.
This has not been a very screen-happy team this year. There's no question. There hasn't been a lot of screens from them. All right, when we come back, let's turn our attention to Tennessee's defense. How much was that bad defense? How much was that just a once-in-a-lifetime quarterback? Well, I shouldn't say once-in-a-lifetime. I've seen it a couple times before. Cam Newton, Tim Tebow. That's what this guy's level is. We'll talk about that next. Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. Man, I wish we had 90 minutes just to talk about Lane Kiffin today, but it's not going to be in the show. I might do something on the Sports Source Digital Network. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Winter is almost here, and that means any building project you begin will need winter weather materials. You know who's got those? Well, A.G. Hines Company, of course. And they know which ones you need because they've been around since 1920, 105 years of experience, 105 years of helping East Tennessee construction companies and do-it-yourselfers get their project done and done right. aghines.com to learn more. I want to welcome in the next member of our panel right over here, VFL Daniel Hood. Daniel, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
And we got a poll question. Has Josh Heupel lost you for good after yesterday's loss? No, Vandy's very good. Let's see next year. Yes, I've seen enough. Now, it usually runs negative to start. The people who are angrier go to my website before we get started. I started to not put the middle answer in there because it always goes to the middle answer when I do. But anyway, you got a QR code right there. Use your smartphone to play along right underneath the Hearthside Bank logo. And let us know how you feel about that. I always appreciate you guys playing along. Sometimes you surprise me. I never should have put the middle answer in there, though. We'll see what you say. Okay, Tennessee's defense was awfully aggressive yesterday. It might have been their most aggressive day. Unfortunately, that resulted in a lot of over-pursuing. They got past Pavia in their pass rush, leaving him open lanes all day. They bid on every pump fake, every play fake. I know they like to be aggressive. I thought it bit them yesterday going against a Vanderbilt offense that is meant to give you the misdirection. I was not impressed with the defense, not obviously giving up 45 points, but it was the aggressiveness, which is what they preach. I thought Vanderbilt used your aggressiveness against you yesterday.
Oh, I tell you, I thought they could have been more aggressive.
Wow.
I'll be honest and tell you, just because what Diego Pavia does is he's awesome at like finding mismatches. He's awesome at finding green grass with his tight end. And I thought we played too much zone yesterday. I would have liked to see us blitz a little bit more and play some man coverage and get him to at least we're going to cut off half the field and make you have to throw the ball to these two guys or these three guys, in opposed to playing more zone and giving you more options, because I thought that's what burned us.
Two different ways of facing aggressive. I see what you're talking about. I'm talking about
missing tackles.
Yes, getting past your guy. It's like, okay, you're not supposed to get past this guy and let him go.
Right. Well, this goes back to what I said earlier, the best football team won. The better football team won. Here's the reason why. There was one play where Diego Pavia decides he's going to run up the middle. You got a safety that's filling the hole. You've got Carter that's coming on the blitz. So one's supposed to take A gap, one's supposed to take the B gap. Well, he stuck his foot in the ground. The safety jumped into the A gap. Carter's already in the A gap. Now he takes off through the B and gets probably about 20-something yards. And the reason why I say better football team won is because that showed me those two guys didn't trust each other. If I got A gap on this blitz, I got A gap. If I got B gap on this blitz, I got B gap. I got to trust that you're going to do your job, and now we don't run into this situation. Yeah. But because they were playing against Pavia, they were so afraid of what he could do. This guy now jumps into his gap saying, I'm going to make the tackle, I'm going to recover for you. And what you're supposed to do is trust your guy to be where he's supposed to be. And that happened all night long, and we missed tackles and misread gaps and all the rest of that the entire night. And that way he had over 100 yards rushing as a quarterback.
Daniel, thoughts on the defense?
Yeah, I love the aggressive play as a defense. I wish our coaches would have called it more. But in this game, I would have liked to see them take it back a little bit. Even use something like a quarterback spy with Pavia doing everything. And what Marlon's talking about there, where the defenders are they chose the same gap. They don't trust each other, but also you got to simplify the game plan a little bit to where, okay, if he's going here, I'm going here. And you just saw too many of these errors each night. And last year, this wasn't a problem when you had the athletes that you had on there. But you have these younger guys that aren't making those plays. They can't redirect off the block quicker. When you don't have that, you've got to play the more bend, don't break instead of trying to go get all the tackle for losses and sacks that you did.
Well, and I think that's something that needs to be talked about too. And you look at blue chip talent, there's no question Tennessee's roster is far better than Vanderbilt's roster in terms of how it's built and who's there. But what that doesn't take into account is you got half your roster is freshmen and redshirt freshmen. That is not the case with Vanderbilt, especially when you have a quarterback like Pavia. How much of this do you put on Tennessee's defense? How much do you say, well, he's putting up 400 yards on everybody he's played? How much of this was Vol defense? How much of this was Pavia?
I think a lot of it's Pavia. I just think look what he did the previous 3 games in which he played. He was averaging, 468 yards of total offense, 77% completion. Having said that, watching Tennessee, I thought they would use a spy on him. Maybe a couple of times they did, but there were so many times, we talk about gap integrity, there were so many just gaping holes at times where Tennessee's got this clogged up, but Pavia or a running back or somebody would find the hole and shoot through it. Next thing you know, it's a 10, 15, 20-yard gain. So I thought Tennessee got out of its alignment a lot. I thought they should have had a spy against him to try to contain him. But, boy, just like if they threw A at him, he came back with B. He had an answer for everything that Tennessee tried to do.
He's special. There's no question. Yeah. He's really special. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result.
And yet I'm here every Sunday.
Yeah, I know. There you go. And yet you bring me back every single time I can. But what that means is we've seen it all season. Guys, this isn't like last night they didn't do it. The defense has been out of position all flipping year.
Couldn't set the edge all year.
Yeah, they couldn't do that all year. And so what that tells you is you're telling these guys to do this and they keep doing the same thing wrong every single time. And after a while you're like, okay guys, do you have the football IQ to do it? Do you not understand? This will be really interesting to see how they adjust to this throughout the offseason, because you saw these guys making the same stinking mistake every single time. And that shows up on film, and they know what to do, and that's why Vanderbilt just absolutely manipulated the defensive front.
Does that sound like a young team to you, or does that sound like bad coaching to you? Because this defense was one of the best in the country last year. It was one of the best in the SEC, top 4 in the SEC the year before that. Yeah. So I know everybody's saying Tim Banks is a horrible coach. The last 2 years' defense was pretty good in the SEC.
Well, that's why I'm going to give him credit and say it's young guys. Mm-hmm. It's young guys. What I saw yesterday was Vanderbilt did a really good job of understanding who Tennessee was on defense. They can't secure the edges. They've done it all year long.
Attack the perimeter all day.
They can't tackle in space. We've seen that all year long. And so what they did was they had a great plan, a great game plan, and saying, you know what, we're going to take advantage of those things. Now that's where the coaching kicks in. At if we haven't done these things right all year long, it's time to switch it up and let's see something a little different. Again, with this being your biggest game, your last game of the season to take care of.
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
No, I was just going to agree with Marlon. It's definitely a young team. Speaking from our experience, my most missed assignments I ever had was my first year starting. But I also think that there's to miss the tackles that they are, that speaks to in practice a lack of physicality in practice, which they're probably trying to keep guys from getting injured. And you're gonna have. I think the lack of physicality in practice and young guys, you have what happened.
Yeah, because from what I'm told, they weren't all that physical last year either, and you had a really good defense. But when you mix that with, it's fire and gasoline together. Very quickly, as two defenders here. First time all year, they look like they quit. That last drive, and you knew Vandy's going to the playoffs. You know they're going to stick one in there, but they're not having to throw deep. They hand off up the middle, and it's a run right up the gut for a long one. I thought they quit yesterday. So I want to talk to you about just very quickly your thoughts on the mental side of this, and there's another aspect to that. Against Arkansas, Mike Washington talked about the defense and then came out and backed it up. Diego Pavia talked about this team in the offseason, came out, backed it up. Marlon, you heard stories last night that they had said, hey, we're bringing champagne, we're going to party if we win, and we'll clean things up. UT knew that. And you know the players knew that. Yeah. They didn't fight it, they didn't stop them. Thoughts on the mentality, the quit last night in the last game, and then the not being able to stop guys who chirp at you?
To me, that's coaching, because that mentality is built every single day in practice. If you allow guys to not play physical, you're protecting injuries and that type of stuff. That's going to come out in the fourth quarter. And, for the first time all year, you saw it. And just.
Well, I don't think we have those guys on this team. There's no offense to those guys. I know those guys are working hard as ever.
And somebody may turn into that guy.
Right. But right now, we don't have that kind of defense. And that showed against Arkansas with the guy doing the talking.
Josh Joseph yesterday almost got a little out of control early, but that was about as close as we've got to one of those guys, I suppose. And I was sitting there yesterday saying, you're going to get flagged, so dial it down. But in terms of having enough gumption to say you're not going to talk like that, you're not going to bring champagne bottles into Neyland Stadium in our locker room, you didn't have it all year. Okay. Very good. When we come back, what should the Volunteers' quarterback plan be next year? Joey Aguilar talked after the game a little bit about that. And what would this Tennessee team's record be if Diego Pavia were here? What if you flip the quarterbacks? Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Elkmont Station. High quality, fresh ingredients, ever evolving menu, and it's perfect for the holiday season. Folks, get down there, check it out. Whether it's a business lunch or a date night, whether it's after a ball game or before a ball game or whatever, it's a great place to go. If you go there once, you're going to go there many, many times. I promise you. Crafty food and drink. Elkmont Station, ElkmontStationKnox.com if you want to check out some of the stuff that's available there. All right. Take a look here. Quarterback comparison, last one of the year. Nico finishes 3-9 at UCLA. Joey Aguilar finishes 8-4 at Tennessee. Aguilar, a much better passer. Iamaleava, more of a runner. I think you could argue Tennessee had more talent. Aguilar had more talent around him than Nico did at UCLA. So great move by the Iamaleava family. Very smart. Okay, I want to talk about quarterbacks in this situation, or in this segment. Josh, what would Tennessee's record be if Diego Pavia were with the Vols? And that's hypothetical, but.
Better than 8-4. I'll start there confidently. So 2 years ago, New Mexico State won 10 games. This year, Vanderbilt, for the first time ever, won 10 games. Why shouldn't I say 10-2? I'd flip the result last night without any hesitation, so we're up to 9-3.
You should have beaten Georgia anyway.
Yeah, with what Aguilar did, he did more than enough to win that game. I kind of come to the Oklahoma game. Right. Would there be less mistakes? Pavia will turn the ball over. He did twice against Tennessee, but he will make up for it as well. Night game at home, Diego Pavia in a home night game with that environment, I'd say 10-2.
He didn't throw 10 picks this year.
Yeah.
Like Aguilar did. Okay, yeah. And what would Vanderbilt's be if they had record be if they had Aguilar? It wouldn't be 10-2.
No, I said they have two losses, two more losses.
At least 8 and 4.
Yeah, because I mean,
7 and 5. Yeah.
LSU was a one-possession game, Missouri was a one-possession game, and Auburn took you to overtime. So out of those three, two could very easily have been losses.
The Pavia impact goes beyond just his stats or his playmaking. He's driven a lot of what that locker room is and the mindset. Yeah. It starts with Clark Lee. He's built that in the roster. It's more than Pavia, but he drives that. By the way, that shouldn't have been the expectation for Aguilar to do that at Tennessee coming into the summer. No. But Pavia has that kind of impact on his team and his locker room, and that's why Vanderbilt's a 10-2 team.
By the way, I didn't introduce these guys because we put up a full screen. That's Josh Ward. This is Chuck Cavaleras. This is VFL Sterling Hinton. All right, now I'm gonna ask you guys this, and Sterling, I'm going to start with you. Congratulations, tough one. Joey Aguilar, after the game last night, he's got a lawsuit going. It's the Pavia lawsuit. He signed his name to it, and they asked him in the locker room after the game, if you win that, will you come back? He said, I don't know, we'll see. If you're Tennessee, you've already got money invested in Fayson Brandon, who's a 5-star coming in next year, but they don't play freshmen. You've got George McIntyre, who's a 5-star, needs to put on weight. He's a 5-star. You got Jake Merklinger, who's a 4-star, still hanging around there. A lot of people think he's transferring out. You could keep Joey Aguilar, possibly, or you could go get another guy out of the portal who's a lesser guy, costs less, because Aguilar will cost a lot this year. You could get a lesser guy and just let him compete with the young guys. What are you doing, Sterling Hinton? If you're the coach, what's your plan next year at quarterback?
If I'm the coach and Joey Aguilar has the opportunity to come back, I'm playing Joey. I'm playing him. But at the quarterback position, which is a position you never have enough good people at, I'm going to try to find me another dog out there in the portal. Somebody who's hungry. Somebody can push Joey to the next level, push the position to the next level, give the young guy coming in people to look at so he know what he needs to do to get to that position and win the position. So it's tough because now you have to think money. You have to think, I guess, how much can we invest in this one position that makes the team better? But, that's what people get paid the big bucks for. And but if Joey can come back, I'm playing him because he's done enough this year to get an opportunity to win a national championship next year.
3,000 passing yards, tons of touchdowns. I thought for the first part of the year, he was all you could have asked for. I thought the second part of the year, it got a little shakier. But still, I don't put this team, if you're 10-2 with Diego Pavia, that's a special quarterback. I don't know many guys who are going to have this a lot better. I don't blame 8-4 on Aguilar is what I'm getting at. Bob, what would you do with the quarterback situation next year?
I wouldn't bring Aguilar back. Or if I bring him back, I quit signing guys out of high school. I think you've got too much money already wrapped up with 3 highly recruited guys, and you bring Aguilar back, and then you said go get somebody else to come. I just don't think you can do that in this day and age. I would start developing my young guys, or I would quit recruiting my young guys. One or the other. But I think I would move on. I would let him go because I think he's going to cost too much money.
So you'd keep McIntyre, Brandon, Merklinger, or would you get a lower level guy out of the portal to be
maybe get a lower level guy to have the experience? Okay. But at some point in time, you can't put all your money in the quarterback.
I agree with that, but John, I thought the question was if he comes back, if he's able to come back. Do we take him?
Yeah, if he can come back,
if he come back, I take him. If he come back,
if he can come back, what do you do, Chuck? What's your quarterback plan?
I want him to come back if he can come back because I think he brings a lot of experience that you're not going to find anywhere else. But I still, Fayson Brandon's supposed to be your dude, right? But that may or may not happen with a freshman.
They're not playing next year, just like they didn't play Imaliava as a freshman.
So if Aguilar can come back, I want him back.
What would you do?
If Aguilar can come back, if he gets that extra year, then I would want him back. If he doesn't, then I would absolutely be going after a transfer to come in and compete with 2 young guys with little to no experience.
That's where I would go. That's what I would do. Go ahead.
But what is the price tag on Aguilar? Do you give him $3.5 million if that's what he asked for? Okay, we'll give you $3.5 million.
Well, that's an unknown because other schools will also be interested in Aguilar. Yeah. So what's the price, the bidding war? That's a good unknown.
No, we don't get into it.
And then you tell the guys that have been in your system, guess what? Go find your own place. Yeah. See you later. Bye. I mean, at some point in time, I think you got to have some loyalty to the guys that you have begged and paid to come play at your school.
Well, I think at the same time, I also know if I'm Josh Heupel and we play the poll right here, it's right in the middle. it's a split almost. You got more people saying, let's see next year. Big year next year, either way.
No doubt.
If I'm Josh Heupel, do I want to go into it with a guy who's a first-time starter? Or if I can bring Joey back, the guy I've seen, what do I feel more? I know how coaches think, and it's what's safe and secure. So that's my guy. I asked Kevin Simon, VFL Kevin Simon talked to me last night. I said, what would you bring Aguilar back if he can come back? His response, hell yeah. You can win games with that guy. That's his take, but I'm not so sure we haven't seen the ceiling. We know you pointed out what Pavia did at New Mexico State. Now he's done it at Vanderbilt. Aguilar threw a ton of interceptions at App State. He threw 10 interceptions that hurt you this year. So, not the end of the world, but that's more than anybody's ever thrown in a Heupel offense before. So I think that has to be taken into consideration as well. By the way, I did get a question. I'm going to throw this out very quickly. Somebody texted me a question. Please, folks, don't text me during the show because I'll do stuff like this and kill time. Somebody didn't like me saying it's a young team. They're saying, is it still a young team this late in the year?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, of course it is still a young team. If you're in the NFL and you've played 10 games, you're still a rookie. If you're a freshman at UT and you've played 11 games, you're still a freshman.
Well, I mean, you've played 11 games this year. You've played 12 games by that point. Cool. So are the guys at Vanderbilt.
Right.
So if you're looking at it going, we're not 0, we're 1. Yeah, and they're not 4, they're 5. So you're still the same amount of
Can I say one thing real quick?
Quickly.
Vanderbilt had the most experienced team in the SEC and like 50-something graduate players. Tennessee had the least experienced team in the SEC. I think at the end of the day, that's got to matter something.
That has clearly played a role in it.
Yes.
All right. When we come back, good job, Chuck.
Thank you.
When we come back, let's get into the heat on Josh Heupel. Is it real hot seat heat? Is it social media heat? Should he be in heat? Let's talk about heat next. Welcome back to the Sports Source. And by me saying, please don't text me, I've now got 3 more texts. These are all people who have my phone that know me. All right. This segment brought to you by Southeast. That's right. No, I just said they know me. I don't have any friends. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. SoutheastTermite.com is where you can go to learn more about the folks that take care of my home. And folks, as the temperatures get cold, those critters are trying to get in. You know they are. Keep them out. And when spring comes around, keep them out. When summer comes around, keep them out. I use these guys year-round. You should too. Southeast Termite and Pest Control, best in the business, best in East Tennessee. Let's take a look at the Josh Heupel keys. Didn't hit a lot of those yesterday. Commit 8 or fewer penalties. You did hit that one, but you lost. And then the other one is complete, what is it, 65% of your passes? Yeah. So I need your glasses. Could you loan me those? So it didn't hit on any of the others, so those numbers are unchanged. But those other 2 on the end, they take a loss. Okay. Let's remind folks of the poll again, if we could. The middle ground always wins. But it is even on the other sides, though. I mean, you got no Vandy is very good, and yes, I've seen enough are pretty close, and then about 40% saying, let's see next year. Keep playing along. Help me figure out what you guys are thinking and feeling, because that's our segment here. We're already behind in the show, but here's the deal. We've been through this enough at Tennessee to know how it plays. It starts with social media heat. Social media meaning talk show as well. Fans get hot. Fans start murmuring, complaining, groaning. That's a fan hot seat. Then they stop giving. And in a world of NIL and revenue sharing, that's not great. That you have more control than ever. Ticket sales and everything, those stop. That's when the administration starts getting into it. And then you got an administrative hot seat. When it comes to Josh Heupel, Mike Stoll, is he on a fan hot seat going into next year? Is he on a real hot seat with Danny White and the administration going into next year? Is he on a hot seat at all going into next year?
So I think he's on a idiotic fan hot seat. People that are just totally out of touch with reality. The ones like, oh, he needs to go to fire the defensive coordinator. We had one of the best defenses in the country last year. All of a sudden, he didn't stop coaching. It's players. I think it's some limited fans that are out of touch with reality that probably have tinfoil on their head and antennas and sit in a room somewhere, dark room. That's the kind of heat that he's probably getting. And those people are out of touch.
Let me give out your phone number.
There you go. Come on, there you go.
Now, thoughts? Should he be on? Is he on a hot seat going into next year? Fan, heat, or administrative?
I phrase it like this: the clock started ticking on him yesterday. I don't think he was on a hot seat. I don't think he's on an administrative hot seat. I agree with Mike that you've got to be misguided to think that you should make a change with him. But I do think losing yesterday, the way they lost especially, I think it did get the clock moving on. Okay, now you've got to recover somehow.
And we did this on radio with Tyler Ivins and Will West a few weeks ago after the Oklahoma game. They asked that question. Everybody said, no, the clock hasn't started. I said it had. I thought it started after Oklahoma. Josh, we were talking before the segment. You host the radio show on WNML 99.1, The Sports Animal, before this show. It wasn't as outrageous. We were discussing, do you think some folks tuned out after Oklahoma? It's like, nope, no playoffs, so we're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a lot of calls, a lot of texts, a lot of opinions. It was a lot of frustration. Bob mentioned the end of the game, how the fourth quarter played out. Tennessee appearing to kind of lay down and allow Vanderbilt to run it up in the end. There was a lot of frustration there, a lot of calls about Tim Banks, the defensive coordinator. And John also mentioned the money aspect. A lot of fans mentioned rising prices, paying to help athletes make money, the talent fee, and the fact that fans' money is going directly to the players. They, at the very least, expect 100% effort on the field. And I think frustration grew and started to boil over from that. But there were no over-the-top calls today on the show. It was more exhaustion and frustration of what they saw toward the end, not just losing to Vanderbilt, the way the game played out in the end.
And we're not seeing people going nuts on this either. It's not the far end. The yes, I've seen enough is not leading this chart, this poll. So I'm just wondering if some of those firebrands after Oklahoma went, you're not in the playoff, I'm done. Because I anticipated this one, the loss to Vandy, being a more hot-headed response, and I just wonder if you got more of if people just kind of hung up for the year after that Oklahoma game. Sterling, hot seat in any way? Fan hot seat?
I think, first of all, to edify yesterday's game, I think we played against an exceptional guy. Pavia is exceptional. He did things out there that, normal quarterbacks, even better than average quarterbacks, would not have done. I think he showed why he deserves to go to New York, first of all. Maybe the clock did start on because of the Catholic spirit around the Power T after yesterday. But what I like about Coach Heupel, he is a quarterback. When the clock starts, that means it's game time. And he's a winner, and he's proven that. I look forward to him doing some big wins here at Tennessee.
I see what you did there. That was nice. And you had that when he talked about the clock ticking, and then I took it way over here. You were sitting there letting it percolate, and then you hit with it.
You got to stir the pot, John P.
I'll let you in with that one. Okay, so you think it's crazy for him to be on a hot seat. You don't think he is?
Well, the reality of college football is that anything can change very quickly, especially Knoxville, Tennessee. So right now, no, I don't think so. But next year, schedule gets tougher. 9-game conference schedule. If it goes poorly, then the heat cranks up quickly.
Or if they play in a bowl game, they blow whoever's out there, even though it's a crummy bowl game. Then it's like, okay, well, it's better, right? This, unfortunately, it's the last game of the season. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And you are playing against a Vanderbilt team that is the best that's probably ever fielded. So it sucks, and that's where it gets out of hand.
That's the reason I think a bowl game becomes a little bit more important.
Oh, it's huge.
Because if you do lose that bowl game, even though nobody's going to care before you lose, they will care after.
Okay.
Good point.
I wonder. I want to see the ratings for that bowl game. I just think we're in a different world now with this playoff thing. We'll see. Okay, when we come back, I'm going to ask this same question to the next part of our panel. We still got much more to come on today's show. Come on back on the Sports Source. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. Time to start thinking about 2026 and how you're going to be spending your spring, summer, and fall days. How about on a lake in a new or pre-owned boat from Madisonville Marine? Get down to Highway 411 North before the year ends for great deals. There's no better place to buy a boat than Madisonville Marine, madmarine.com as well. All right, let's take a look at the poll results and see where we wound up Yep, I put the middle ground in there, and that's what took it. But actually, no, Vandy's very good, gets the second place, and then third place is yes, I've seen enough. I am surprised by that response. I am absolutely surprised. I thought it would be a little hotter than that today, so you surprised me, folks. Thank you very much. Appreciate you playing along. Let me ask these guys. You heard your compatriots, Jimmy Himes. Do you think that Heupel's going to spend this offseason on a fan hot seat, fan-built hot seat, an administration hot seat, or no hot seat?
Fan hot seat. But because you lose to Vanderbilt, and it doesn't matter how good Vanderbilt is.
Oh, yeah.
So we talked about how if you beat Florida and lose to Vanderbilt, you've undone the goodwill.
Yep.
So, yes, fan hot seat. Administrative hot seat, I would say no. I think the administration understands where they were before he got here. I think the heavy donors understand where you were before he got here. So I don't think they're going to drive the bus to put him on a hot seat. So I'm going to say yes to the fans, no to the administration.
Chuck.
I feel pretty much the same way. I think it's the fans, but I also think there needs to be some strong evaluation about what we're doing, who's doing it, and what can we do better. I just don't think you.
Where are you going with that?
Well, maybe it would start with Danny White. Maybe it would start with that look on Josh Heupel's face and his comments after that second half. He was like, "We've had some tough times, but I don't think I've ever felt like this before." That you can't let that happen again. So you got to look in the mirror across the board and see if there's something that you need to change and do better. So I think it's a little bit more than just a fan. I really do.
So you think there's an administration hot seat that's coming in?
I know, maybe not a hot seat, but I think it's a little warm. I really do.
Okay.
So you think Danny White's going to tell him to get rid of a coach?
No, I just think there's going to be some serious evaluations about what we're doing and why. Listen, you didn't beat a ranked team all season. You've now lost 6 straight to ranked teams. That's not the direction you want to go.
I say fan and partially administration. Here's why I say administration. I think you've got to reevaluate where you are as a football team.
Exactly.
We've heard the last couple of years where guys have left and gone other places. Alex Golish, what was the receivers coach that ended up going to the Saints, and then we promote Kelsey Pope?
Cody Burns.
I think you got to. Administration is probably going to say, look, we got to reevaluate where we are. I think Danny White's very serious about, I want to win championships. I want to compete for championships. And we're not close to that right now from a talent standpoint. And so what I would say is from administration-wise, I don't think he wants to see we're promoting guys up anymore. Let's go get someone that fills a void where we're not strong at. That means if we need better recruiting, let's go get a guy that can go recruit. If we need more production from our receiver room or offensive line room, let's go get guys that can actually put us over the edge of that, make you a little bit more uncomfortable because it's not a guy that's on your staff already, but he challenges you and challenges his football team to get better where we need to be.
Right. Daniel, fan hot seat, administrative hot seat?
Yeah.
No hot seat.
No. I think a hot seat is warranted. And it's just I have a core belief, this may be right or wrong, but when you're the leader, especially like Josh Heupel is, everything falls on you. We call it the extreme ownership principle. And when you look at the on-field results this year, it's not really where fans wanted to be. It wasn't the step forward that you hoped it would be. And then to me also, I think you can't overlook some of the off-season things that have happened too. You also had the Nico situation. I don't think it's Heupel's fault, but you're the leader. You're in control of all those things. You had the Boo Carter situation, everything else. And I know that's the era of football, but if you're a leader, everything starts and ends with you. And I would start having those conversations as an administration.
Good producer, you brought up the Nico situation. We did a poll here back in May when he left, and I've been sitting on it all year.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at what everybody said then. The question was in May, will you give Heupel a pass if Tennessee struggles without Iamaleava? 84% said, yes, I back his decision. 5% said, well, sure, and 11% no, win anyway. The poll we did today doesn't match up with those numbers
Exactly.
well, does it?
No,
Exactly.
it doesn't.
So I would say this. I've been holding off. My take is I don't think he should be on a hot seat. I think he's going to be on the fan hot seat. I think it's going to be a loud, noisy off season. I remember last year, in terms of not competing for championships, you were in the playoff a year ago, and you would have been in 2 of the 4 years if you had a 12-team playoff if this system were around. So my memory is not just this year. In terms of disappointing what you didn't do this year, Mike Stoll's here. Will Overstreet isn't here today, but the three of us last December after the Ohio State game said right here, it's a rebuilding year next year, 8-4. Said it on this show last December. Las Vegas said 8.5 wins.
Yes.
You won 8 games, and it would have been 9 if Gilbert hits a kick against Georgia. I don't know what everybody's freaking out about. I don't think Tennessee is too good for 8-4. If he goes 8-4 the next 5 years, you're too good for that. But if it's 11-2, 9-4, 10-3 playoff, 9-4, no, I think that's where most teams in the SEC, not named Alabama and Georgia, are. And I think that's where you are. I do think improvements need to be made in terms of talent. If you want to be up there with Alabama and Georgia, and that's where maybe if you're Josh Heupel, on your own, you may need to look at it and say, who's on my staff that is the ace recruiter? And do I use enough of the portal money? Those are legit, but I wouldn't put him on a hot seat personally. That's my take. When we come back, let's take this conversation to the, let's do that. When we come back, let's talk about that portal thing, the recruiting thing, offense, defense. What's Tennessee's biggest concern coming forward? Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things. Holiday shopping's a breeze at Games and Things. You simply can't go wrong. From card sets, dartboards, boss toss, small games, right on up to table tennis, foosball, shuffleboard, and billiard tables. Daniel Hood got a billiard table at Games and Things, loves the thing. Get to Games and Things on Lovell Road and Kingston Pike. It's right there at the corner. That's how I can be on both streets at once. Do that ASAP to get your holiday shopping taken care of. Games and Things. Okay, we've brought out the big orange board here, and I want to know, everybody is going to weigh in. I give you 5 choices. What is your biggest concern moving forward? You can say offense, defense, recruiting, transfer portal, or player development. Everybody gets a chance to give me their one thing that is their biggest concern and a couple of sentences as to why. I will start with Bob Hodge.
Well, I would like to go with transfer portal, but I'm going to go with offense. Offense is my biggest concern going forward.
So the whole thing was set up, and I got you back in here so you could say transfer portal, and you're changing it. Okay. Go, explain.
Well, I just think Tennessee's offense comes up small in big games. And they came up small against Mississippi State, but 2 defensive touchdowns bailed you out. Came up small against Alabama, came up small against Oklahoma, came up small against Vanderbilt.
You're talking this year or just repeated?
No, starting this year, and I think it's due to a lack of creativity. But yes, I was going to go transfer portal, but I just think offense needs to be reworked somehow.
Jimmy Himes.
Defense, easily. The offense ranked first in the SEC in scoring and total offense.
But great,
The
play
defense
ETSU every year.
Where did the defense rank? 15th or 16th. Yeah. So you got to improve the defense. The defense was atrocious. The offense was not. So I'm going to go defense.
I do think we nitpick the offense. There are points where there are 2 halves this year. Oklahoma and Vanderbilt, second halves of those where I just thought you were up against it. But other than that, I never felt like you were horrific. And you're averaging 30-something points in SEC play.
Nitpicking.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, no, that's fine. That's fine. I would be more defense than offense, but that's not where I would go. Mike Stoll, where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, I think the offensive and defense are warranted, but it's all about your player development, right? I think as you saw the season progress, you saw – again, people doing the same thing over and over again. Are these guys learning? Are they growing? Are they developing? Are they moving forward? You got to get them better because you've got a young group of kids in there playing. Can you develop them to make the next step so that they can do the right assignments? Because there's a lot of busted assignments out there.
Chuck.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to look at what Clark Lee has done at Vanderbilt, and that's the transfer portal. He got tired of losing good recruits that were leaving for other schools, and he started going after veteran players that could help Vanderbilt win. And I think if you look at Josh Heupel, he could add a few more portal players instead of so many high school players.
Okay. Yeah. I have been complaining all year on the digital network and various shows. I've been talking about recruiting, but I'm going to go right here. I'm moving it. I've been saying recruiting because my feeling is if you want to compete with Alabama and Georgia, then stop being an underdog to them where they've got better talent. And I don't feel that you have an ace recruiter. You keep finishing 10, 11, 12 in the nation in recruiting, and that's great. It's 6th best in the SEC. Yeah. So it's not that great. You're 7th this year, 7th or 8th in 24/7's rankings. I think that's 4th or 5th in the SEC. So recruiting, except I think portal, not only go get some guys to fill in those holes like Chuck said, we've pointed out you've got one of the youngest teams in the SEC.
Yes.
If this were the old system, we would look at this year and we would say, ooh, the future's bright with all the young guys. Ty Redmond, he wound up leading the SEC in interceptions, didn't he? And he have 3 now. I think he's tied or up there with the interception. So you've got young guys, you've got talent that's coming young. But the problem is, in the new system, how many of those guys are going to stick around?
Exactly.
So not only do you need to go get more veterans, in my opinion,
Right.
and I know that's not what Heupel's going to go completely to, but you need to go get some more better weapons, I think, occasionally. But also, you got to keep what you've got. Because if you're going to be the recruiting guy, and we're going to have a young team, then that young team has to develop and stay here. So that's why I'm worried about the portal first. Okay.
And you've also got to hit on some unknowns, which Ole Miss did with a running back and a quarterback.
Yeah, got lucky at the quarterback spot.
Yeah. But the running back in Missouri had done nothing.
Yep.
And he had a great year.
When we come back, which players have the most leverage when it comes to the portal? Who will UT have to pay up? Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Al Wilson's hard-hitting tea. Whether it's a tailgate or just watching the game with friends, there's no better drink for a Big Orange fan than Al Wilson's hard-hitting tea. Good old Southern tea with a kiss of apple wine taste. Hard-hitting but smooth tasting. Visit the website today, hardhittingtea.com. All right, let's make a quick list. We're going to catch up some time here. Let's make a quick list. The Vols are in the best position to make some money off UT this offseason, either by their play or a lack of bodies at their position. I will start, number 1, Braylon Staley.
Yep.
Braylon Staley can ask for a king's ransom and get it, and I think UT had better pay it.
Yep.
Next, who?
Ty Redmond.
Ty Redmond. He is developed. He's gotten better as the season has gone on. And the worst thing you want to happen is he goes and play and be awesome for someone else.
Absolutely. Ty Redmond. Okay.
Same position. I had Ricky Gibson in mind, and he did get an increase this past offseason. He's coming back from injury, but he's a very important player. So that position is something Tennessee has to figure out.
If you have Gibson and Redmond there to start, I feel better about it than what we had this year.
Yeah.
You know, because Redmond was just not ready. And Heupel even hinted at that after the game last night when he was defending the defense a little bit. He was upset with everything, but he did say we had some guys thrust into positions before they were ready. All right, who else stands to make some cash?
I like the linebacker Jordan Pilati. I thought he played well, and I think he's going to be a big need next year.
He's aggressive.
Yeah.
All right. I'll tell you somebody I don't think deserves it. Who's going to get it because he's one of 2 guys returning and Chris Brazel's leaving? Mac Matthews.
Yep.
I don't think he lived up to what he was supposed to be this year. We heard it all last year, and he caught 7 passes. This year, he dropped another one yesterday, a walk-in, gimme, layup, stepping across the end zone. And here's the thing. I crapped all over Brazel last year for the drops. So you're in good company. Prove me wrong next year the way Brazel did this year. But Mike Matthews is a guy, even though he hadn't had a great year, you're going to have to pay him because it's Staley and Brazel and what? Staley and Matthews and what? You're going to count on Jackson Smith, who can't stay healthy?
Another guy I'm going to go with, John P., is my man Bishop.
Yeah.
18 showed up, baby. 18 showed up now. And we've talked offset how he can get better. And I think his ceiling is high.
Yeah.
Offensive line, defensive line, anybody?
Well, I would say Jesse Perry. Lance Hurd has a decision to make. That one's interesting because I think the thought has been David Sanders Jr. slides over left tackle. So Hurd's an unknown for next year, but Jesse Perry was a player that really took a big step this year. He could be the other tackle if Sanders is your left tackle. So Jesse Perry, I think.
Okay.
I was going to say Edris Farouk. Whenever you've got a guy in a secondary that's played a lot of football, whether it's been good or bad, whatever it may be, you also got to look at his potential and say, okay, that kid's going to get better, especially when he's young. So I think he's going to be a guy that they're going to have to address at some point.
Okay.
What do you think about Hobbs, the way he's played the last couple of games?
Aaron Carter. Who, Mr. Carter?
I think Carter's he's interesting as well, as could take off.
Linebacker's an interesting numbers position because if Carter's coming back and you have Spillman, T-Lander, Perlotti, Jaden Harmon, who wants to play more next year, something has to give with the numbers at linebacker.
All right. It's a good list. When we come back, and we caught up, that's excellent. It's always those segments I like best when we catch up. When we come back, in a season of what-ifs, what were the biggest what-ifs? The biggest what-ifs of the season. And they could go either way. Come on back. Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Safety Systems. Boy, they've got every kind of system you could want, wired, wireless. They've got camera systems. They've got gate and access control systems. And this is not just for your home. If you've got a business, if you're a business owner out there, just start noticing when you're driving around Knoxville and you pull up to somebody's drive-through window or you walk in their front door, you're going to see a sticker that looks just like that graphic on the screen right there. Because so many businesses here in East Tennessee have turned to Safety Systems and trusted them for more than 2 decades. I trust them with my home. You can too. SafetySystems.com. All right, lots of permutations to any season for any team. You can always sit there and say, well, if this had happened, we'd have won these games. Right. If that had happened, we'd have lost these games. But I'm going to ask you, in a season with a lot of what-ifs on this 8-4 Tennessee football team, and we can go back to preseason too, what are the biggest what-ifs?
Well, I think the obvious what-if is Max Gilbert, correct?
Hits the Georgia kick.
Yeah, or if that was handled better, the whole situation there. So that's mine,
I
Max
just
Gilbert.
hit the kick.
Well, yeah, but if you get him a little closer, if you handle the time management better. I mean, he's never missed that extra point. Get him that close.
It was a close kick.
I know, he's supposed to make it, but what
Where's
if
Stoll? Should he have hit the kick?
No, he should have hit it.
There you go.
Don't get me in a headlock.
Hit the kick. Hit the kick.
Put him in the transfer portal.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but my biggest what if is still Nico because
That's the fun one.
Yeah, it's the fun one, but there's also like the second year with the same offense coordinator, defense coordinator, the growth that happens in the second year. I think his numbers would have been as good as Joey's, and I think he would have. I know it's a hot take, but and he would have added a little more dynamics with being able to run the football as well. I still think that's your biggest what if.
It's a huge what if. What would have happened? And I don't know that it wouldn't have been probably about the same record. You built this offense, though. You spent all offseason rebuilding your offense with him in mind.
Yeah.
And he left, and we never got to see him in it. And it's hard to say, look at what he did at UCLA, because that doesn't really compare. That, to me, is probably my biggest what if. But my number 2 is, what if you have McCoy and Gibson?
Yeah, that's where I was at.
If you've got 2 starting corners, you heard Kirk Herbstreit come in and talk about it a few weeks ago. You look at Iowa State; they started the season 5-0, lost their 2 corners, then lost their next 4 games. They wound up 8-4 too. If you'd had those corners, that's my big one. What are you doing, Chuck? Or you gave me a start.
That's where I was going. 2 corners. We got our 2 corners. It changed the entire complexity of the defense. You know, I'm blessed to be able to watch Ty Redmond come of age. But had he not had to do that in such an immediate situation, I think we get at least 2 more wins with those 2 guys in there.
Yeah, the corner one was mine as well because I don't think we're in the position talking about Max Gilbert needing that kick because Georgia's plan was to go after Redmond, and it's not Redmond's fault he was in that position. Georgia's plan against Tennessee is different. I don't know the overall effect here, but what if Boo Carter's handled differently during the summer? You don't have that hanging over the team all season. So what if Boo Carter's not allowed back and allowed to work his way through, which ultimately ended up not working out?
Yeah, we were behind here, so I'm going to be quick. What if Oklahoma doesn't get the strip sack?
Right.
All right, because you had the momentum. I'll flip that, though. What if Florida doesn't get that holding call on the 43-yard gain on their second possession? Does that turn into a different ball game? Mississippi State, I could give you what-ifs back and forth on that one. Touchdowns called back on both sides. missed kicks on both sides, dropped perfect passes on both sides.
Yep.
Yeah, clock management at the end of the fourth quarter on both sides was weird.
Yeah.
Did we mention the pick six at Bama? That
Oh,
was
that's a good one.
that was
my
one
second
that
one.
you
That was my second one.
My adjacent one too is what if you had your special teams coordinator Eckler still there? Would you have had the step back in special teams this year that you had?
Good question. And I'll throw in, let's do one from yesterday. I still think you lose that game, but what if you don't have the roughing the passer? I mean, you would have been up 21-17 going to half if they hit the kick. Instead, they go on a 31-3 run from that point out, and they owned the middle 8 that everybody talks about. So a lot of what ifs.
Talked about that. Yeah.
A lot of what ifs. All right, when we come back, who won our Beat the House contest this year? We'll talk about that. Well, in fact, I went back. I got bored with looking, so I went back a little bit. But we got the last 8 champions. I was wondering who's won this thing in the past. So we'll show you the last 8 champions of our different pick contests, and we'll ask who's going to care about buying tickets and going to a bowl. What's next? Come on back. Hey, look there. Oh, baby. We got cash falling from the sky, cigar lit, champagne in hand. Although that should have been Al Wilson's hard-hitting tea in there if I thought about it. All right, Chuck. Chuck was happy because he made $600 at the casino yesterday. Let's take a look at the champions. For the first time ever, or at least as far as I could find, we had a 3-way tie at the top, and everybody else winds up with 0. Jimmy actually filed a protest with me afterwards last week. You would have had some cash left. But 1,000, 1,000, 1,000 left for Bob, first-time winner. Daniel Hood, back-to-back winners. Josh, second-time winner. And everybody else, well, at least we lasted longer than Overstreet. All right, now, let's take a look at our career champions. Here's the all-time champions. So Bob, Daniel, and Josh just won it. Daniel won it by himself last year. So he's the first back-to-back guy, sort of, kind of. You had to split it, but okay. Mike and Josh. Josh is a 2-time winner. Will Overstreet's the only guy to win it twice by himself. Wow. Somehow I won it one year. Jimmy won it, and in 2019, I'd forgotten this and went back and watched it. Sterling would have won if he had just picked Vanderbilt to beat Tennessee, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. So he lost. Yeah, man of principle. And in 2018, we changed this thing every year. We used to do it to where Chuck could actually win, and he won. The casino won one year.
Yeah,
and at that point, it was late in the night, and I said, I'm not looking any more of these up. So there we go. There's your champions. Congratulations.
Do we all get championship rings?
No. If you want to buy them, I'm more than happy to accept one.
Butch Jones will get you one.
All right, here's my question. Looks like the Vols are most likely headed to either the Gator in Jacksonville, the Music City in Nashville, or the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte. The better the bowl depends on how many teams get into the playoff out of the SEC. What will fan interest be in traveling to, I think it goes Jacksonville, then Nashville, I guess, just because it's closer.
Yeah.
And then Charlotte, not going to have a great crowd, I wouldn't think, unless you got a lot of Vol fans in North Carolina. Your thoughts? What's the fan interest in traveling?
Very minimal unless you go to Nashville, because there will be some people that'll go to Nashville just to party and have a good time.
In and out. You're not. It's actually
Yes,
a
you
trip.
can go
It's
in
just
the
a
morning
day
and
trip.
come back
Yeah.
and same
So
day.
you'll sell tickets for that one and be okay. The other two, I doubt they'll sell their allotment.
I think you may have people just because Jacksonville's at least Florida. It may be warm. I think it would be better than Charlotte, but
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, if you're looking at trip, I just don't consider Nashville a trip, but it's a one-day trip. So yeah. What's everybody else think? Anybody disagree?
No.
We got our players over there.
Send us to Nashville to party with some hard-hitting tea.
Ready for their album.
I live in Nashville. Y'all can come hang with me.
I've tried that before. He doesn't mean it.
Pool's open. You can come hang out. It's not heated, but you can come get.
He told me there's a pond for you out back.
It'll be better for you.
We got a doghouse.
And the matchup too. Like if you get a really good matchup, exciting for what it is in Jacksonville.
With both teams playing half their players.
Yeah, well,
I just the problem. No, I think you know who is it going to be? If it's Louisville, I don't care.
Nope.
I mean,
Well, I mean, do you want to see Clemson again?
there was a time if it had been Miami. Now Miami's played their way; they could wind up staying in the
Yeah.
playoff. But there was a time when there was talk about Miami versus Tennessee in a bowl game on the 40th anniversary of the Sugar Bowl. Now that would have been fun for a geezer like me, but
I don't like
just-
that matchup.
Not right now. No, but you're probably going to play in Illinois or in Iowa, or yawn. You haven't played Illinois before. I shouldn't say yawn with that, but I don't want to see Iowa again.
That would be one way to get more interest in whatever bowl game they go to. See somebody that you typically do not see. It seems like they play Iowa every other year. I know
Well, they
that's
have.
not true.
Three bowls in the last 12 years, I think?
But I don't care about Illinois, even though you hadn't played them.
Yeah, Michigan type would help, but
There you go, but they won't play
But
them.
in Iowa,
Illinois,
would be
to
tough.
me, would only be interesting to see those two.
But see-
But the two uniforms, one would be wearing gray and the other would be wearing purple.
But since it's the oddball Big Ten now, could you maybe get a USC? That would be, to me, a more
that'd be more
interesting
compelling.
matchup.
Hey, by the way, just got a note. Al Wilson liked you holding up his drink. There you go. Thanks to everybody.
Great stuff.
All right. Thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks to everybody for having a great season. I appreciate you. We'll do something for the bowl game. See you next Saturday on the Saturday kickoff. Next Sunday. See you.